You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry, ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is our latest Game of Thrones reaction video for Season 7, Episode 2. And as always, for these Game of Thrones reactions, I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler. Hey, Tyler.
Hello, great to be back. We're back on the season 7 train. I guess we're getting closer and closer to the end because episode 2, you told me the seasons are shorter now. So we're almost at almost the midway point of the whole season, and we're only in episode 2. It's giving me flashbacks to like the Disney shows where they're like 6 episodes. I like the first episode. It was fun, especially because we got to see Dragonstone with Daenerys going to Dragonstone.
In the light. Saw it in the light.
That too.
All right, and this episode we are joined by a special guest, one of our fellow co-hosts and team members over at the Cinemania World podcast. We have Pat. Hi, Pat.
Hello. Happy to be here. I love your guys' reactions, and I'm excited to talk about one of my favorite episodes of this season.
Oh,
Yes.
No pressure then for me to like it.
Pat actually reached out about episode 2 of season 7. What's your history with the show, Pat?
Oh man, so I got into it right before season 3 started. I caught up with the first 2 seasons and then watched season 3 live. Absolutely loved the Red Wedding, absolutely broke me. I remember my friend and I went to McDonald's afterward just to eat our feelings away. We were
Nice.
devastated. But yeah, I mean, I love Game of Thrones so much. It was a huge like my whole family watched it together, which made some scenes pretty weird.
Yeah.
But overall, like we all loved it, and it became just like a big household thing. And then as it went on, as I've talked about with Larry on our podcast, it kind of lost some of that in the later seasons for me from some of the decisions. But I'm not going to say obviously what those things were, Tyler, but it's no secret that the last few seasons aren't regarded as masterpieces. So
I'm kind of in this like weird place where like
See?
I haven't reached like the most terrible, alleged terrible stuff of Game of Thrones, but
Right.
but I was there like first day for House of the Dragon.
Yes.
Yep.
So I'm in like so I'm in like that weird middle spot where like I'm really enjoying Game of Thrones. I haven't gotten to the horrible stuff that everybody talks
House of the
about.
Dragon was awesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for the
Yeah.
most part.
You can hear me and Pat talking about that over at the Cinemania World podcast. He was on several of our episodes for Throne Watch there, so
Mhm.
that was a good time.
Yeah. He's over
Getting
there
back
was
to that
defending
action.
Aemon Targaryen for
Listen,
some
I will
reason.
defend Aemon to the death, all right?
Yeah, if you see anyone running around Twitter defending Aemon Targaryen with their life, you probably have ran into Pat. But
Well,
here we are, long after
Accident, man.
Aemon and everybody else in the House of the Dragon has died. We are in season 7 of Game of Thrones with one Targaryen left, one blonde-haired person running around still. And that's it. And episode 1 was Dragonstone, a place we've come quite accustomed to in House of the Dragon. But we kick the season off with Walder Frey, where you're not sure. We're looking at a flashback. I don't know. Did he revive from the dead? No, it's Arya wearing Walder Frey's face and poisoning pretty much the house of Walder Frey. It had been
Extinct.
wiped off the map of Westeros to meet some of the other noble houses who have since gone extinct. So goodbye, Freys. Meanwhile,
for the best.
Yeah.
Arya reveals that she is headed south back to King's Landing because she has quite the big name still to cross off her list. The Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, Ms. Cersei Lannister.
Not Ed Sheeran.
So not Ed Sheeran. And we see Bran and Mira have arrived at the wall, and they are finally back in civilization after seasons upon seasons of roaming around, doing things beyond the wall. They're back, and just in time to freak out poor Ed Tullet. This council, where they are trying to decide what to do to prepare for the army of the dead. Tormund is going to man a castle, the castle closest to the wall. He's ready. The wildlings are ready for some action out there. Meanwhile, Sansa is saying, strip the Karstarks and the Umbers of all of their titles and their lands, throw them out and give those to someone who stood by you throughout the war. Jon, his more forgiving heart for the most part. We've seen Jon be unforgiving before as well, but if he doesn't have to kill somebody, mostly he's not going to kill somebody. And he's like, no, let's mend these relationships instead. They can, bend the knee, give their fealty to us. And we see that the people in question, the lord and lady of these houses, are like children. Jon is like, yeah, just bend the knee and you're all right. But then they have a discussion about Sansa calling Jon out in front of everyone after he's been named King of the North. And she literally just starts arguing with him in the middle of these councils while Littlefinger eats it up in the corner.
Naturally.
Then we see Cersei making her nice little painting, her war room painting on the floor. Jaime is like, hey, yo, we never talked about Tommen, actually, since I've got back. Our last remaining child is dead, Cersei. All of our line is dead, except for basically us. And she basically is like, good on him then. Like, I love Tommen, but he betrayed us all. So, sorry, not sorry. I'm the queen now, and we got to go to war. And Jim's like, except here's the problem. Where are our allies? Let's the Tyrells hate us. The Dorne hates us. Daenerys and her dragons are here. They are arriving anytime. The North hates us. The Starks all hate us. How are we supposed to win a war when we are at war with pretty much all the rest of the kingdoms? And so she's like, well, I conjured up a nice little someone, and we see the Greyjoy fleet arriving in King's Landing. Oh, there we go. It's a pretty sick shirt, I do have to admit. But Euron arrives and is like, hey, Cersei, what up, girl? I'm here with the greatest armada the Seven Kingdoms has ever seen. I know Corlys was like pushing on his grave to be like, I'll dispute that, sir. The Valerians of old dispute. He's basically like, look, your little brother is over there with Daenerys. My little treacherous nephew and niece who stole all my ships and ran, they're over there with Daenerys. So let's go ahead and join forces and take down Daenerys so that we can kill our family members. How about that? So he vows to bring a gift she cannot refuse back to her to win over her hand in marriage. So off Euron goes to collect a gift, I suppose. Then we see Samwell in one of the most disgusting montages in Game of Thrones history. A show full of heads exploding, guts and entrails coming out, just some of the nastiest ish we've seen on television. This chamber pot and soup montage, though, that Samwell puts us through is the most vile yet. And so we see him get through to the Grand Maester there, and he's like, yeah, maybe I do believe you, but look, the wall is still up. That means we're safe. But Samwell's not cool with that, so he breaks into the little secret library, gets a book. We see the little cat's paw dagger that we've seen since season 1 of Game of Thrones and through all throughout season 1 of House of the Dragon. And he just kind of skims over that. He don't care about that damn dagger. Instead, he sees that Dragonstone is sitting on top of a mountain of dragon glass. Ooh, what a thunk. But that prompts him to send a raven up to Jon to let him know where he can find dragon glass for the weapons that they will need. Then see the Hound come across a father and daughter who housed him and Arya earlier in the series that he stole from, and sees the consequences of his actions led to their death. More importantly, on this little mission, he is shown the fire by Thoros of Myr. A nice Melisandre moment where he's like, look into the flames, Hound. Clegane, come closer. And he does. And he actually sees a vision of the undead beyond the wall, this arrow mountain crossing over the wall in his vision. Then I forgot to mention it while we were over there, but Samwell also gets like snatched up when he is delivering soups by a shadow figure that has grayscale.
Come on.
that is interrogating him over the one and only Daenerys Targaryen.
Come on.
I
We know who it
wonder
is.
who in the world that might be.
I knew
Yeah,
that outline of that face anywhere.
A single-minded man with grayscale. Oh my.
Yep.
Sounds like one and only person we've met in the show. We see her, the legend herself, Miss Daenerys, arrives on Dragonstone. Take a nice little lovely stroll with her as she kind of like emotionally takes in her ancestral home. I do have to admit, I posted it on Twitter, but I didn't really mention it much. It did hit different, I have to say, because I haven't rewatched season 7 much either,
Yeah.
or season 8. I have not rewatched in its entirety, period, since the show ended. But it did hit different after sitting through House
House
of
of
the
the Dragon.
Dragon.
I was wondering that. Yeah.
Watching her arrival, getting the music. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was something a little bit more special after House of the Dragon to see her
Well, yeah.
arrive.
Before it's like I think I thought of Dragonstone. It's just Stannis. It's like mostly Stannis connected
Yeah.
to.
The place of her birth, the place where that storm raged on as she was born. This is a lot of walking. Dragonstone is they better be carrying Olenna's ass up there if she needs to go up to that war room because this is too much. But we see that bridge that we've seen in House of the Dragon, the whole deal.
Say, that was true. I was one. We did talk about that. How is Olenna getting all the way up there?
But we see a throne. We see this Dragonstone throne that we still haven't even seen in House of the Dragon either. Daenerys rips down that Baratheon banner that was left over from Stannis. She said, "Get this out of here."
Yeah, we even brought up.
Targaryen
I don't
brought
think
it
we ever
back.
saw Stannis on that throne.
Oh no, we
No.
don't.
I was like,
Nope.
did he know it was back there?
Not so much.
He likes to stand in the war room.
Yeah. Then we
Yeah.
got to that newly infamous table. Daenerys is looking over it, and she just simply her one line of dialogue at the very end of the episode, after her and Tyrion have walked this whole damn place, is, "Shall we begin?" And then we cut to black, and here we are with another episode named in the vein of the Daenerys storyline. We have Stormborn. So we'll see if that means a storm is on its way or we just talking about Daenerys in general. I don't know, but I guess we shall see. So let's get to episode 2 of season 7.
Oh.
A theme song we have not had to miss because they just said, you know what, we struck perfection the first time.
Yeah.
Why
That's
risk
true.
why risk it for House of the Dragon? We'll just keep it.
We know it's gonna get compared. Let's just let it chill.
Yep.
Oh, I see where the episode title is getting its name.
It just hits you right on the head with it.
If Viserys had 3 dragons and an army at his back, he'd have invaded King's Landing already.
Conquering Westeros would be easy for you.
That would have been wild if Viserys lived that long.
Yeah, he could never.
I did.
And then you served the man who overthrew you.
Oh,
I had a choice, Your Grace. Robert Baratheon or face the headman's axe.
But you didn't serve him long. So you took it upon yourself to find a better one.
Your Grace.
Yeah.
Lord Varys told me about a queen.
Before I came to power, you favored my brother. All your spies.
Wait, wasn't he the one that like tried to poison her back in the beginning
Yes,
of the
he
show?
Yep.
Well,
I love Varys.
Made you the king.
this is gonna be awkward.
Until your marriage to Khal Drogo, Your Grace, I knew nothing about you save your existence and that you were said to be beautiful.
So you and your friends traded me like a prize horse to the Dothraki.
Which you turned to your advantage.
Who gave the order to kill me?
Eat.
King Robert.
It's not looking good for him right now. I'll tell you that.
Assassin. Who sent word to Essos to murder Daenerys?
that wasn't Robert.
Begun.
To keep yourself alive.
The kind the realm needs. Incompetence should not be rewarded with blind loyalty. As long as I have my eyes, I'll use them.
Preach.
I wasn't born into a great house. I came from nothing. You wish to know where my true loyalties lie? Not with any king or queen, but with the people.
Okay,
The people who
Bear.
suffer under despots and prosper under just rule. The people whose hearts you aim to win.
Varys is really saving his ass, isn't he?
Demand blind allegiance.
Top 3 favorite characters. I love him.
Yeah, good for him.
I will serve you well. I will dedicate myself to seeing you on the Iron Throne because I choose you.
Ooh,
Because I
woo.
know the people.
I choose you, Daenerys. All right, what's the final verdict?
If you ever think I'm failing the people, you won't conspire behind my back. You'll look me in the eye as you have done today, and you'll tell me how I'm failing them.
I swear it, my queen.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
And I swear this: if you ever betray me, I'll burn you alive.
Nope.
Well, shit.
Just in
No
case
pressure.
we're not clear on the arrangements of these promises, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God. How the hell she make it here?
The Lord of Light, Tyler. The Lord of Light.
She once served another
Nope.
who wanted the Iron Throne.
Varys just out in people's business.
Baratheon did it.
Yep. So I'm gonna make myself useful immediately. Here's all my information.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing she just came back to where she was for many seasons.
Oh, Daenerys. She said, Varys, don't overstep me.
Doesn't have many followers in Westeros, does he? The prince who was promised will bring the dawn.
Well,
I'm afraid
I know this line.
Your Grace, forgive me, but your translation is not quite accurate. That noun has no gender in High Valyrian. So
Oh?
the proper translation for that prophecy would be the prince or princess who was promised will bring the dawn.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it?
No, but I like it better.
It can be either.
Leave this.
And why do you think the Lord of Light singled out this Jon Snow, aside from the visions you've seen in the flames, that is?
As Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, he allowed the wildlings south of the wall. Let him stand before you and tell you the things that have happened to him. The things that he has seen with his own eyes.
Well, I guess it's very convenient that he needs to go there for Dragonglass anyways, right?
But I like Jon Snow, and I trusted him. And I am an excellent judge of character.
Yes, you are, Tyrion.
Very well. Send a raven north. Tell
Good.
Jon Snow that his queen invites him to come to Dragonstone
His queen.
and bend the knee.
Oh, not bend the knee. Damn.
Oh no.
I thought this was going to be a friendly party. Not come here and bend to me.
he's
Damn.
now had two queens tell him he needs to come south and bend the knee.
Yeah, he's going to be busy.
Just leave the north alone. You know?
Of course, the casual mention of a Dothraki horde, a legion of unsullied and 3 clans.
Well,
Fire kills whites, you told me. What breathes fire?
Gotta have him spell it out, you know?
Poor child.
But
she's got dragons.
army of the dead makes it past the wall.
Seems like the large, fire-breathing beasts would be a help.
Mm-hmm.
With their help, the Mad King.
Hey, it's that guy from Umbrella Academy.
Army of savages to
Mhm.
shores. Mindless, unsullied
Tyler,
souls
meet the
would
new
destroy
Dickon
the
Tarley.
Oh, that's the new one?
The recast.
Oh, okay. Well, I recognize him at least. It's the guy from Umbrella Academy.
No longer the guy from Peacemaker.
Oh, that, yeah. Let's say they went from one popular franchise to a different one.
Essos, her brutality is already legendary. She crucified
Hate Sam's dad.
hundreds of nobles and enslavers buried.
Hate him.
And when she grew bored of that, she fed them to her dragons.
This is quite an interesting lens of the story.
We must stand together.
She has 3 full-grown dragons, Your Grace.
Mm-hmm.
Same as Aegon when he conquered the 7 kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
I propose to stop them.
What is the defense for those?
We are currently at work on a solution.
Of course, that weirdo has some. that weirdo always has some craziness he's working on.
And Kybin's a visionary, all right.
Sir Jaime, I believe you know my son.
Sir Jaime.
I do not. Who are you?
He looked different last time.
Yeah, Cersei has some nerve talking all that mess after she just blew up their sept, but
Yeah. How dare she burn people?
Yeah. Well, logic is kind of thrown out the window here.
How may I serve?
I want you to help me destroy her enemies. All her enemies.
Well, it's gonna take a while.
your liege lord.
It's awkward.
We're not oathbreakers, we're not schemers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't stab our rivals in the back or cut their throats.
Ooh.
Well,
I swore an oath to House
You sure did.
Sworn oath to the crown as well, Lord.
I've known Olenna since I was a child.
She was a great woman once. Now
Liz.
she's broken.
Jamie, please take a seat.
So badly she brought the Dothraki to our shores. Do you fight with us or with foreign savages and eunuchs?
If all else fails, turn to racism.
I think his side's not pretty great.
Well, we already know Randall Tarley is quite the racist himself, just from that exchange with Gilly. So,
It's him. I told you.
It's such a twist.
I knew it was that man.
Your mind? 6 months.
Oh, jeez. Never mind.
That sucks.
People in Game of Thrones don't live that long. He'll be good. He's lived a long life.
Yeah, true.
She had the grayscale as a baby and was cured. Now, isn't there some way?
Does this look like a baby to you? Have you studied the varying rates of grayscale progression in infants and fully grown men?
No.
Why is this guy always so rude?
Mr. Crescent, I'll allow you one more day. How you choose to spend that time is up to you.
Man, Jorah's only got one more day. Come on. Figure something out.
Jorah moment.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh.
There's no need. I've been dead to them for years.
Yeah. Most of them are also dead, but
True.
it is what it is.
Hi, everyone.
What craziness is he cooking up down here?
Since Robert had them removed from the throne room.
Elarion the Dread. The beast that Aegon rode across
Hey.
the sea. His flames forged the Iron Throne and brought the Seven Kingdoms to heel.
I've always thought that skull is so cool.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that dragon in action.
They can be wounded. They can be killed.
Oh man, they brought out like a giant ballista.
Mm-hmm.
Been laboring day and night.
We have an army of
Here we go.
3 dragons. We should hit King's Landing now, hard. With
Hey, Olenna's there.
the city will fall within a day.
We
turn
turn the dragons loose, tens of thousands will die in the firestorms.
It's called war.
Oh.
You don't have the stomach for it. Scurry back into
I know how you wage war. We don't poison
Oh!
soldiers here.
Oh man, the girls are fighting.
innocent Lannisters. My greatest regret is that Oberyn died fighting for me.
Oh, shit.
Oh, all right, we're just throwing daggers at this table, it seems.
All right,
He'd be
Daenerys.
ashamed of her.
I am not here to be Queen of the Ashes.
That's very nice to hear.
No?
Of course, I can't remember a queen who was better loved than my granddaughter. The common people loved her. The nobles loved her. What is left of her now?
I will not attack King's Landing. We will not attack King's Landing.
Oh.
How do you mean to take the Iron Throne? By asking nicely?
Yeah.
Siege to the capital surrounding the city on all sides.
So, your master plan is to use our armies. Forgive me for asking, but why did you bother to bring your own?
Oh.
The Unsullied will have another objective, and the seat of that power is Casterly Rock.
We're gonna go after Castle Rock now too.
Yep.
Take it.
Hmm.
It's interesting that all three of her female advisors were ready to burn them. They said we have to strike now and hard.
You have mine. Lady Elena, may I speak with you alone?
Oh. Gotta get a Daenerys Olenna interaction.
This is what dreams are made of.
Yeah.
But I swear to you, she will pay for what she's done.
Yeah.
Bring peace back to Westeros.
He's a clever man, your hand. I've known a great many clever men. I've outlived them all. I ignored them.
Oh, damn.
Westeros,
She's the best.
are you a sheep? No. You're a dragon.
Yeah.
Be a dragon.
Yes, Olenna.
It's gonna be my new life motto now. Be a dragon.
Yeah.
She's so great.
All right, I guess we'll just throw Tyrion's plans in the garbage.
Olenna said, don't listen to nothing. Just told you.
I will see you as you are, my weakness.
That's close enough.
A little insulting, kind of.
Let's try that again.
Good effort.
Scared of dogs.
I'm scared of you.
One is frightened of the ocean.
Oh.
All right. Whoop whoop. Let the weakness win.
Oh?
Now you're just teasing the man. Yay.
Little Missandei and Grey Worm all grown up.
Yay, they're gonna make this work. Let's go.
One way or another, I suppose.
Good for them.
When you have love, that's all that matters, Tyler.
This is like the most screen time they've had together in a long time, too.
It's true.
Possibly something a bit more poetic?
We're not poets, Charlie.
If I could just have a moment.
This is your moment.
Khaleesi.
All right.
And this is the only loved one or family that needs to know anything. The only one I care
Just,
about.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I knew your father.
Hope you're ready for some fun experiments, Jorah.
Ready to be a guinea pig today, sir?
You're not dying today, Sir Jorah.
What is it?
Rum. Drink it all, please. I'm afraid this is going to hurt.
Oh.
Say what? I don't think it matters if you only have a day or two to be around.
Yeah.
All right, let's share it then.
Have you ever done this before?
Nope.
That's a great look.
Really instilling confidence in this procedure.
There's really nothing to lose, you know?
I
You let me
guess.
try to save you, or you just die. You go crazy, lose your mind, and die. Those are your choices.
At least Samuel brought gloves, right?
So we're removing your entire upper level of skin.
Ooh, that sounds like a horrible idea. There's a lot of stuff to get rid of. I don't know. It sounds like an impossible task.
Yeah. Oh my god. The pus. I hate this scene.
It's turned into a saw trap all of a sudden. Ooh, carving him up like a Christmas ham.
Oh man, there's only like 98% more to go, Jorah. You're fine. Ugh.
Ooh, not the
What
pie.
a transition! What a transition!
I don't know what's going on with season 7, but these transitions in season 7 are wild.
Yep.
Oh,
the king returns. Good for him. I'm glad he's lived this whole time.
He's lived a good life.
You've been making pies.
One or two.
With some special ingredients.
Did she ever find you?
Crazy
She
because that was
found
so
her.
long ago.
She found me.
What happened to you, Harry?
How long he got?
Well, it's been 4 seasons.
Say how much of this crazy story you want to hear.
Got any ale?
I thought you'd be heading for Winterfell.
Why would I go there? The Boltons have it.
No, the Boltons are dead.
Oh,
R.I.P. Roos.
Jon Snow came down from Castle Black of the Wild and won the Battle of the Bastards. He's king of the North now.
Well, at least Pot Pie is keeping up with the news.
Arya's shit.
He lives.
It's like shit. What do I do?
Friends don't pay.
Oh,
Have fun.
You're a boy. You're pretty.
Shoot your shot, Hot Pie.
Dragonstone sits on a mountain of dragonglass.
how did
Dragonstone.
Daenerys and Tyrion's raven get there faster than
Protected
Sam?
by Tyrion Lannister.
I guess Samuel's Raven took a little bit longer.
Or the dragon delivered it.
Yeah, can you imagine?
She has a powerful army at her back, and if this message is to be believed, 3 dragons.
Oh.
Who?
Whoa.
Not 3 dragons.
Meet with them, and I'm going to accept.
Oh snap!
Whoa.
Jon Snow's going on tour, baby.
This dragonglass, my lord.
It's always such a good idea for the Northern Lords to go south.
White Walkers and their army. We need to mine it and turn it into weapons.
You've forgotten what happened to our grandfather. The Mad King invited him to King's Landing and roasted him alive.
I don't believe Tyrion would do that. You know him. He's
I
a
guess
good
the whole
man.
bending the knee part wasn't in the note.
I remember the Mad King all too well.
Not even from here.
Yeah, who are you?
Go back to the hills.
Yeah, take Littlefinger and get out.
We need the king in the north.
Oh,
Well,
uh-oh,
so yeah, in a sense,
your
though.
biggest champion.
She's right by default.
She's been cheering you on this whole time, John.
You're abandoning your people. You're abandoning your home.
I'm leaving both in good hands.
Whose?
Yours.
Mhm.
You are my sister.
Oh,
Well, in that case, it's fine.
Okay, actually go,
Alright.
John.
Go on.
What are you waiting for, John? The next trip out is all ready to go. Let's get on it.
Here's your tickets. Have a safe
Of
voyage.
course, Littlefinger's all hyped about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
now she has
interim-
no protest.
Interim
she's totally
queen.
cool.
Never just bones myself.
Shut up.
Presented them to Lady Catelyn as a gesture of goodwill from Tyrion Lannister.
When did that happen?
Season 2.
I remember the bones, but that was like when
That's
she
a
was
good
told he was
gesture
talking to
part.
Catelyn.
So did I.
Yeah, we know, Littlefinger, we know.
Oh god.
She wasn't fond of you, was she?
Well,
No, she wasn't.
You gotta bring it up.
just throw him out there.
Like, the fact he hasn't said a word to him. There we go.
Hey.
I have nothing to say to you.
Oh,
Not even thank you.
oh.
Well, okay, that's fair. You could at least say like, "All right, thanks," and leave.
You have many enemies, my king, but I
You could have come a couple minutes earlier.
I love Sansa.
Oh, okay, well, here we go.
Oh, this is turn weird.
Mm-hmm. See what happened when you F around too much, Littlefinger?
There's that
Just-
Ned Stark in him. Choking
Jon
Littlefinger's
Snow.
a tradition.
Touch my sister, and I'll kill you myself.
Ooh.
Don't wait till then. Do it now.
Yeah, Ned choked him and then let him go and got stabbed right in the back. So,
You finished the job.
Come on.
I do love John's dramatic big cape coat.
Yeah.
Sansa
Let's
just
hope that
can't
there's-
help herself but jump up and undermine in the middle of everybody.
Let's hope that there's still people left when John returns.
Right?
Let's hope they all don't got blue eyes. by the time he gets back.
Yeah, and the fact that Littlefinger's over there Now he's got perfect access to her scheming. That horse seems spooked by something. Are those wolves?
Yeah.
Not quite the attack we were anticipating.
Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Is this the way Arya Stark goes down?
Ooh.
Oh shit. That's a dire wolf, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure is.
Nymeria?
Oh?
After so many years wondering where the hell this dire wolf has been.
Yep. Ugh.
It found a pack of its own.
You gotta do a little apology, Arya.
Yeah, it's been a long ride.
Sorry I threw a rock at you.
Yeah, sorry I chased you
Oh.
away. It was mean to you, but I had to save your life.
That's the old me.
Come with me.
Yeah, bring her back. Bring the whole pack, actually. We need all the bodies we can get.
That you just said the whole pack pretty much.
I mean, he was
Bring
like,
them all.
well, actually, I'm good. Thanks, girl.
Yeah.
Just
You guys
letting
are
you know I'm
cursed.
still alive.
You know how many of my siblings died? Shaggy dog.
They're all dead.
Lady.
Except one.
Ghost is still cool.
Ghost and me.
Greywind got killed at a wedding.
How long is it? Where is Ghost?
Yeah.
I was like, we need a size comparison, and then I realized it's been a hot minute since I've seen Ghost. So
That's how Ghost has survived so long. He's just always off screen.
She's not my mama.
Not these people.
I know.
Boy, a girl.
Equal opportunists. Nope. Poor guy's had enough.
He's like, I don't need to be here for this.
So if someone gets too close to you,
You might have to intervene to hold that person back.
Oh, here we go. All right. Let's do this.
Oh.
who's standing all the way over there then? A foreign invasion is underway.
Oh my god.
Poor Theon. Oh, that's awkward.
Couldn't we waited 5 minutes? Like,
Come on.
let's let him have some fun.
I'm disappointed. It ended too soon.
I agree.
I mean, Theon still could have jumped in there.
Oh. Got another storm raging.
Oh god.
He is the storm.
No.
Euron.
He's coming at him like he's Davy Jones in Pirates of the
Hell yeah,
Caribbean.
he is.
Oh jeez.
Ooh! Best entrance of the show.
Oh shit.
Kill this man. Somebody.
Okay, here we go. Let's see.
Ooh.
Oh. Damn.
Ooh. All right, now let's find Euron and kill him.
Oh, shit.
Ow, ow,
Oh,
ow.
wow. Okay, sir.
I want that axe so badly. Like that, it's such a cool design.
Ooh,
Oh.
look at her doing something.
Oh,
Okay,
go
okay,
Theon.
Theon. You still got some moves, Theon. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
shit.
hopeless.
Somebody kill this man.
Oh.
There you go. Good start.
Okay. Oh, there's the whip. Oh, shit.
Oh, well, that's why you don't use a whip.
You try a spear.
Is that shit at least poisoned, girls? Did you at least
Right.
keep them
Take out the
poisoned?
poison. Go, sand snakes. Oh, not the crotch
Oh.
stab.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
That's dirty.
Ow.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh.
All right.
Girl. Okay.
Yeah.
At least
Put
you
out
got
some.
how to say you need a close range weapon if you're gonna just use a whip.
Do the combos.
Oh, not
Now the
Jessica
whip's gonna kill
Henwick.
you. Come on.
You did good, girl. Laria, we know you can fight a little bit.
I was gonna say,
can't you?
could she have tried something? Life or death?
Right, Yara.
Here we go.
Kill this man.
Our last hope. Yeah, well, Theon's still there, but oh shit.
Oh.
You're telling me nobody behind them could just turn around and just stab Euron?
That's not how it happens in these.
I'm just saying.
Oh!
Oh.
Let's
go, Yara.
Oh shit!
Oh man, that fireball was too close.
You almost killed your own damn commander. Watch where you shooting them flames.
Get him. This deranged man.
Yeah.
Oh. What's wrong with this people? We don't go back to the old Theon.
Alfie's so good.
Reek has entered the chat.
No. He really just jumped off the...
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna really save you?
Oh, damn.
They use the whip, too?
He really just put them on the front of his station.
With their own weapons.
Oh.
Theon just floating in this water.
Thank goodness Gendry has his rowboat.
Yeah, Gendry, where are you? We're still out there somewhere, Gendry.
This is
Theon
your time.
need to lift.
This is where he paddles by, ironically. R.I.P. Jessica Henwick, Sand Snake, and other Sand Snake that I don't remember the name of.
2 sand snakes.
And the one that's alive is the worst one.
She's definitely the most infamous one. That is for damn sure.
The worst one lived. I'm
This
upset.
one survived. Well, that was episode 2 of season 7, Stormborn. So we kick off the episode with Daenerys and her war council. At least to start, it's just Tyrion and Varys, basically. That's when she turned her sights on Varys and was like, oh, that's right. You have been around since all that time, haven't you, sir? Let's see, you've served how many kings and leaders to this point? Jumping from one to the next, including my own horrible brother, and were involved in trading me off to the Dothraki, and oh, you ordered and hired the mercenaries to give me that poison. Isn't that right, Sir Lord Varys? It's like, well, okay, hold up. Listen. Before you, before Robert, before your daddy, before any of y'all, I am here to serve the people. Whether that means I gotta betray some royals or what. If they're acting too much, I go to the one that I think will give us the best chance. I didn't know your brother. You're right. Putting him on the throne probably would have been a terrible idea on my part, but look, we're here now, and I believe in you. He gives a very similar speech to how Tyrion told her in the end of season 6. Of, I've been a cynic. I haven't believed in anyone to this point, but I believe in you, Daenerys. So she's like, okay, I'll accept it, and just promise me though, if you think I'm doing wrong, you're going to come to my face. Don't go scheming behind my back like you've done to all the rest and tell me you think I'm doing wrong. And if you do scheme, just know I will burn you alive, sir. So understand the punishment for betraying me. And we see a little bit later in the episode, her allies come along. They're here. We don't get to see how Olenna gets up there, but she makes it one way or another. We see in the council, Yara's like, look, we have all the army. We have all the power right now. Plus, we have 3 large dragons. If we hit King's Landing now, it will fall within like a day. It will take no effort for us to take King's Landing. Let's go. Ilaria is also like, yep, let's do it. Let's kill him. Burn this sucker to the ground, and let's end this now. And even our girl Olenna is like, let's okay. I'm on board too. We can't win a war by simply asking Cersei nicely to hand over the crown. So this is a war. But Tyrion had gotten through to Daenerys. She said, I'm not going to be the queen of the ashes. We're not going to burn King's Landing to the ground to get to the crown. Instead, Tyrion will demonstrate this little plan he's concocted. So they planned to send the Greyjoy fleet down to Dorne to pick up those armies and cut off food supply. The Unsullied are headed on over to Casterly Rock with the remaining part of the Greyjoy fleet that they have to sack that area and cut off the power of the Lannisters. So we won't talk about that last part yet, but the last thing we do at Dragonstone is Missandei and Grey Worm get their like shining moment, maybe of the series so far. After years and years of build up, the making eyes at each other, being cute around one another, obviously having these little feelings for one another. They finally just lay it out there on the table. Grey Worm, decides to show his whole self to Missandei. So now she can answer that question Daenerys asked her back in season 5 about the pillars and the stone. She did not have an answer for Daenerys then. They decide, you know what, Grey Worm may not return from this little excursion to Casterly Rock, so we got to get it in while the getting's good. But Tyler, how did you feel about everything that happened on Dragonstone?
Oh man, I thought it was pretty good. It was just great seeing all of these characters that I enjoy actually in a room together, even if they didn't seem to really quite enjoy some of them. They didn't really like their company with one another. It was a bit dicey at first between some of them because they all have very hostile, I guess, backgrounds to one another, if you will. I don't know. It's kind of hard to make dice of what some of the plans are because Tyrion's making these plans. Some of them don't seem to be working out that great by the end. You have Olenna basically be telling Daenerys, "Don't listen to him." I mean, that could be more of the case as we go on because it's going to be awkward finding out how they feel about what transpired at the end, and maybe Daenerys might be leaning towards more. Maybe Olenna's right and Tyrion was wrong. I don't know. I mean, I guess I guess just to get it over with, if you will, I feel like it would have made more sense for them to just go in there, guns ablazing, if you will, or fire, dragon blazing, and just take it. Because
I will say, I think the one thing noticing on this rewatch of this episode, they make it seem like it's all or nothing. Either we burn the city to the ground or we have to starve them out or whatever. And it's like, I think there's a gray area of hitting the city hard without, torching all of the innocent folks of I think we have an in-between that could have happened to attack King's Landing and the Red Keep right now, but that's, that's neither here nor there.
I guess for me, I just feel like it's hard to believe that people would side with Cersei in this case, also compared to what Daenerys and her team is bringing to the table. Because I feel like most people don't like Cersei in King's Landing. Because I mean, we saw literally how they feel about Cersei Lannister as she walked through the streets and was shamed. I mean, between that and then the blowing up the sept and everything else, I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't be that hard for the people to just be like, okay, I'll take literally anybody else than Cersei Lannister at this point. I don't know. She doesn't have very many
fire
allies.
of like, this is the daughter of the Mad Queen or the Mad King. Maybe she could go mad. We've already seen the one that's sitting the throne is mad. Like she already blew up our city, so
burn them all.
There's a chance that this one, I guess, could be crazy, but we already know that one's crazy. So maybe we should take the chance.
Right. I don't know. That's at least my takeaway, at least at the moment. I feel like it's kind of hard to get behind that people would choose Cersei and not Daenerys and her whole entire camp because I just feel like they're the better option of the two. I mean, that is kind of biased because we've seen everything, and the people of King's Landing have only seen Cersei Lannister. Maybe we'll see. I'm sure that we'll get some more answers as the season progresses on how these people feel. But that stuff was pretty good as far as the council and formulating a plan. It seems like the plan's not working so great so far, but maybe Daenerys will have to go into action and actually burn some people if things keep getting worse. And Grey Worm and Missandei, they've not really had a big role together in recent seasons, which is kind of unfortunate. But if this is like the end all be all of these two characters interacting, I thought it was a great swan song, if you will, for their appearances together. If this really is, he doesn't know if he's gonna come back or not. At least we got this one final, like, loving relationship esque moment between the two of them. But we'll see. Game of Thrones, I say they give you some moments that some characters that you really like, and then they take them away from you in very emotional ways. So hopefully this isn't the end for Grey Worm, but we'll see.
Say we also, totally blanked when doing the first rundown. We also saw Melisandre for the first time this season. So she's arrived at Dragonstone, and it's like, hey, you should meet up with Jon Snow because someone is the princess that promised, or prince that is promised. Missandei gives us that little correction that has no gender in High Valyrian, so it could be prince or princess, and that leads to Tyrion sending a raven up north. And we get to see Varys looking on at another red priestess because last time he saw one, he was shook.
Yeah, that one was pretty wild way back then.
True.
But Melisandre, that was interesting to see. She finally popped up somewhere. I figured she was gonna pop up somewhere since she's not allowed to go back. So I guess she just went back to the one place that she's always been.
Went back to her origin, Dragonstone, her former home of glory.
I guess she just got lucky that there were already people there when she came back.
Lord. All right, Pat, how did you feel about all of the Dragonstone stuff this episode?
I really liked it. I love any time a lot of these characters that like have had such separate storylines throughout the show finally come together and we get to see a bit like how they interact. For instance, just like the fact that Tyrion is in this group full of people that just despise the Lannisters is just perfect because like no matter what he says, even if he is right, sometimes they're gonna be like, no, like we're not gonna listen to you because you were responsible for killing Oberyn, quote unquote, or like Olenna being upset about Marjorie and Loras, like even though obviously Tyrion isn't connected with Cersei really anymore. But I love any time that happens on Game of Thrones. I think it always handled it fairly well. There are times where something like that might feel kind of like fanficky, it doesn't feel organic, but like this episode I think did it really well, where it just made sense that everyone would be saying and contributing the things that they were contributing to the meeting. Like it sounded like Olenna, that's how she would be. She is probably the smartest or at least the wisest person in the room. And she's going to look at, Tyrion and listen to what he's saying and just hear the same things, type of things she's heard for decades and the same type of things she probably heard from Tywin. Like, so it was nice to have her to kind of back Dany up and give her at least somewhat of a different perspective compared to Tyrion. I really like that about it. As far as Melisandre, I do think it's funny she ran right back to Dragonstone. I also really like the fact that they don't make it 100% that, oh, Jon Snow is for sure this prophesized hero. There is still this possibility that Daenerys is the one they're talking about in the prophecy, which I really like.
All right. Well, then we do head north to see Jon and Sansa getting the letter, as well as Davos is there. And now he can read, so he can take part in the little letter readings. But they receive the note from Tyrion calling him down. He sneaks in that little Easter egg, kind of as a, it's me, Jon, I promise. It's not a trick. Davos takes heed to them mentioning her armies and her dragons, but in this world, Davos, I feel like you always kind of lay down your strength when you're trying to gain allies so that they know, hey, this is what you're joining. So we have what we need. You should know that, Davos. You've convinced plenty of people for Stannis. I guess he usually came from a point of a disadvantage. He had to kind of finagle. He had to throw in a little extra because they didn't have much. Then this council, where they also receive the letter from Samwell telling him, that was sent off last episode, telling him about the dragon glass beneath Dragonstone. So basically, Jon is like, all right, so she has dragons. She's calling me down for an allyship, and it's coming from Tyrion, who I trust, and who Sansa also does trust as a person. And then I get this letter from Samwell telling me Dragonstone, the place I was just asked to travel to, is the place that has all of the resource I need. So I'm heading on to Dragonstone, which the North is like, what? but no, we don't like that. Stay here. And Sansa becomes the most vocal of them all, jumping up and it's like, last time a Targaryen asked our relatives to come down, he burned them alive. So let's not have that happen again. Thanks, John. I don't trust her. I don't trust any of this. You need to stay until John is like, all right, but I'm leaving the North in your hands when I go. And suddenly she's like, well, okay, maybe you can go. It's okay. You're right. We'll be fine up here. We'll live. Littlefinger's loving it. He's lapping it all up in the corner, and so he gets a little bit too bold and decides to follow John down into the and start talking crazy to him about loving Catelyn and how Catelyn didn't even like John, and then pushes it one too far and is like, I love your sister like I loved her mother, and that's too much. It's like, sir, please.
That
and
was
John
very
decided to
valid
choke
of
him
him.
He choked him the hell out and said, touch her once, bruh, and I will kill you myself. Do you understand? And then we just kind of see John exiting stage left. So how did you feel about all the happenings up in the North, Pat?
I love everything about Jon Snow as king, even though it's only been a short time so far. I think he's a level-headed leader, and despite what the stubborn Northmen tend to believe, I do think he's probably making the best choice in the long run because they don't have the numbers against the army of the dead. He's seen that for himself. You got the Northern Lords and the Vale. Most of the Northern Lords people probably got taken out during the Battle of the Bastards, so you really don't have that much. You need help. Dragon sounds like the perfect weapon. Like it's like, of course, if a weakness is fire, get the things that can make fire and take out legions of things at a time. And the songs of it all, I just find hilarious because I just think it's funny that she was so adamant, no, you can't go. And the second he gives her like a crumb of like authority and like power and like, oh, here you go, you can hold the place while I'm down. She is just 100% like, go, it's gonna be fine. I love it. Just go. Sansa's funny. Littlefinger's just an idiot. He should know better dealing with Ned. Like this boy was raised by Ned Stark. He's not gonna fall. Well, I guess Ned did fall for him, but he's not gonna put up with him. you know. So I liked everything going on up there with John and Sansa and Littlefinger. I was always glad when John decided to actually go south, despite how risky that is for his family members.
Right, Tyler.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything he said as far as Jon Snow, and then Sansa's. I guess not a. I guess her attitude changed a little bit about it now that she has a little bit of power for an interim period of time. And Littlefinger, I hate that guy, so it's always exciting whenever anyone manhandles him. But it is exciting. It's promising just the idea that Daenerys and Jon Snow are going to meet, because we're finally getting, after 7 seasons, we're seeing more of these characters finally interact with Daenerys, because we had 6+ seasons where Daenerys was like off in a far away foreign land, far away from everybody else, it seemed like, and now we're finally getting her over into the big stuff, the big fun stuff. I guess everybody left out in the notes that he's supposed to bend the knee when he gets there.
Tyrion did not want to put that.
Because it seems like to John, he's just going over there to form an alliance, but it's more of like, no, you're gonna like listen to me. You're gonna bend the knee. This is not an alliance. I am your queen.
So in that sense, John is right. She wouldn't accept anyone but the king in the north, because she invited him for a specific purpose that only he can do.
Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum going forward, because like you need Daenerys and her forces and the dragons, and you also want the dragon glass, but it's like you gotta bend the knee. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if there's some sort of compromise, or maybe I guess somebody's got to do the bending. I don't know who's going to do what bending, but somebody's got to bend, I assume.
No, because the North also, not only with people, they just don't have enough like dragon glass and Valyrian steel either. So even if they have all these people, their regular old swords aren't going to cut it. So, well, then in King's Landing, we see Cersei rounding up, it seems like mostly the lords and ladies from the Reach, but presumably other ones too, because she kind of just says most of you are sworn to House Tyrell, including the Tarleys, who we met one of them last season when Samwell went to dinner. But we see Randall Tarley being like, girl, why would we follow you again? I don't understand why you're really asking us for help.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are these people? Why are these people following Cersei Lannister right now?
The Cersei, we see her conjuring up stories, talking about Daenerys, murdering all the noblemen and then feeding them all to her dragons, and she's coming to do the same to you all over here in Westeros as the Great Lords, leaving out. They don't have slaves in Westeros, so there's already that conflict is not really the same as what she was dealing with nobles across the sea, but
it's very unfair because you think of it, it's like, okay, well, Daenerys, she did some stuff, she killed some slavers and all that stuff, which is the right thing, freed a bunch of slaves. Cersei just blew up the Sept of Baelor.
Yeah, the way they've gone about killing people to this point has been from quite a different perspective from each other, but
I also I feel like I don't know if it's the show, I don't know if it's the writing, because I know people hate the D&D guys, but I feel like everybody in the town has taken her blowing the Sept pretty well, because I feel like we never really addressed that she blew up the Sept and killed the High Sparrow and most of the, if not all, the sparrows and Marjorie. I feel like we didn't really address, like, they just seem cool with that, I guess.
The people of King's Landing are crazy.
We've seen the people of King's Landing revolt in other seasons for far less, but
they ripped off a guy's arm once.
Yeah, they were quite vicious for far less than blowing up basically the Vatican of Westeros.
Yeah, seriously.
And a faith,
pretty cool.
Also, though, a faith that tried to empower, as much as we hated the High Sparrow, it was a faith for the little people and a group of people that the small folk of King's Landing did like quite a lot. I mean, that was a big talk last season, was if we attack the sparrows, the people of King's Landing will not, they won't be happy and will rise up with the sparrows. Yeah, we have not seen that. Yeah, they don't really bring up the fact that not only would Lord Tarly, be betraying Olenna, Cersei blew up his liege lord in the Sept. But, again, racism. When all your other things are failing, they go to, well, also she's bringing those savages with her. So it's not just Daenerys Targaryen that's come across the sea. It's all the brown people in the show that are coming along with her, with the Dothraki and the Unsullied. Hell, even Dorne is on her side. Even the brown people we kind of like are on her side. So she's got all the brown folks. We can't have that. And Lord Tarly kind of is like, maybe you're right about that. The Dothraki part. Jamie, maybe you're right. I don't like those Dothraki at all. Then Qyburn takes Cersei down into the new dragon cell they have.
His super crossbow.
Yeah, and reveals his new invention, because he did hear that in the season 5, episode 9, one of Daenerys's dragons did get injured in the slavers' pit by some spears. So he's like, we just got to amp that up a little bit, and we'll be able to take one of these puppies down. So now they have this very large weapon. How do you feel, Tyler?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of mentioned the Cersei stuff. I just feel it's kind of odd that all these people are behind Cersei. Well, anyone's behind Cersei, I guess. I feel like it's so weird that everybody just seems to be so cool that she just blew up the Sept, and we're just gonna move on from that, and we're gonna just go to war with Daenerys and her people that we don't like, I guess, for some, because of these made up rumors. I don't know. It was interesting seeing, I guess, the new Dickon Tarly, the guy from Umbrella Academy. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, as far as these people serving Cersei in this war that's coming up. I guess with it being Qyburn, I was expecting something even more insane than a giant ballista. I mean, it seems like it could do some pretty good damage. I mean, we saw what it just did to the skull, which is kind of mean because that skull's so cool.
And it's
And
been
now
here for
has-
so damn long. They don't care about the tradition or history. You just ruined this gold that's been here since the beginning of Westeros.
Yeah, Valerian's not very happy about that.
How do you feel about King's Landing this episode?
I mean, just seeing Randall Tarley, like, just pretty much decide that he's gonna go with Cersei and Jaime. Not surprised. I hate him after his behavior in season 6 when Sam visited. It seems like Cersei is able to pull in all of the like worst folks of Westeros pretty easily. Like, you got him, you got Euron, and you just barely have to appeal to him at all. They just kind of gravitate towards her because she's just so terrible. And those are people that are willing to overlook her flaws because they're going to get something out of it. Randall might become Warden of the South. Euron might be able to marry her. Like, they all just want something. And Cersei has a habit of getting allies like that. Like she tried to do when she initially tried to get the High Sparrow as an ally, and that backfired on her. So you never know. When you surround yourself with terrible people, they might screw you over in the end. But as far as Qyburn, I love Qyburn as a character. I love his mad scientistness. I love the fact that without him, Cersei would be not probably where she is. He always comes up with the plans. He always comes up with the clever ways to destroy stuff or to give her a zombie mountain. Like, he's always backing her up. That is the best thing to happen for her is him falling into her lap.
he's definitely a wild character just because he does pull off some really crazy stuff, like bringing the mountain back to life in a sense, and then saving Jaime by fixing his hand in a sense. Because that seemed a lost cause until he popped in.
I mean, imagine Grand Maester Pycelle trying to do any of this.
I mean, if that were her person, it would be she would have killed him. I mean,
Exactly.
She probably would have killed him herself as soon as
Honestly,
she became queen.
I do wish that he was still alive because it would have just made me laugh more to see him get roasted by Cersei while she's queen.
Yeah, I mean, she has been real savage since she's become queen, so Pycelle would have really got it. Well, then we see good old Samwell back at it again, and he discovers that his new patient is none other than his OG Lord Commander's son, Jorah Mormont. So he has a new desire to help save this man. The other Grand Master's like, bruh, I know all about all the solutions, and guess what? They've just gotten people killed. So no, we're not going to help this man. Jorah, there's the sword. I suggest you use it. They're like, send your condolences to all your loved ones. And he literally just has one person, and that's Daenerys. He don't care about sending letters to anybody else but her.
Which you feel bad for because Daenerys has much bigger problems to deal with right now.
She already forgot about him. You kidding me?
Little Jorah sitting there, and Samwell's like, look, I read the books. Let's give it a go, Jorah. I literally have to just peel off all of that skin, just bit by bit. Samwell just delivering us with all the greatest imagery this season as he peeled off Jorah's skin, all this pus coming on out of there. I mean, not quite as graphic maybe as last week, but I mean, it is still pretty vile. And once again, though, they like to intercut just really disgusting-ish with food. And as he stabs in, we're like, oh, just kidding. That's one of Hot Pie's little pies now.
Yeah, the editing has gotten very weird these last couple episodes.
They want to gross us out this season.
That last episode, it was poop and soup.
So how'd you feel about the little bit we got with Samwell and Jorah, Pat?
I liked the two of them getting to meet just because of Lord Commander Mormont being such an important person for Sam. I always remember, for some reason, I always remember him being like, "You just said the ravens, Tolly." Like, just always comes back to me. Sam attempting to save his life, I think that's pretty cool, if not a little convenient, but main characters sometimes have to be the ones to meet. The scene itself makes me physically feel unwell. It's very hard to watch still. I always remember it ever since initially watching it. I'm not a big fan of the Maesters in Old Town. They're just stuffy, and the whole place is stuffy. And I hate like the fact that they're like, yeah, we're not going to try that. He's like, but it could help. I'm like, no, and then they just give up on it. I'm like, okay, yeah, but I did like that little moment where he kind of gives Jorah the option without blatantly saying it of I would send you off to go be with the Stone Men, but there I'll give you one day to consider. I'll give you a day, but really it's I'll give you an opportunity to end your life a different way if you don't want to deal with that. So I did like that little kind of moment for Jorah where he's kind of potentially at the end of his life if Sam doesn't intervene.
All right, Tyler.
Oh man, well I knew last week it was gonna be Jorah Mormont in that cell or whatever you're that room, whichever you want to call it. But yeah, it was interesting to see him actually have this conversation. Well, I'm sure he wasn't too happy with it with Samwell and trying to fix him. I'm glad that Samwell is trying his best to fix Jorah or heal Jorah of his grayscale because it was getting pretty nasty. We saw the extent of how nasty it can get when he's getting carved up like a ham, where you're just seeing these big chunks of him just getting carved his body. That was pretty disgusting. It's been quite an experience watching Samwell over here with the Maesters because it seems like the show has ramped up the grossness each time he's been there, whether it be the pots like we just mentioned. Now it's cutting off this, Dora's flesh pretty much piece by piece to try and heal him. I hope for his sake it does heal him because that's a lot of torture to go through. I hope Zora pulls through because he's getting tortured at this point.
And then we transition on over to just a quick moment with Arya Stark. We get a hot pie spotting for the first time
Amazing.
in years. He's
King
still alive.
returns.
He's still right there where we left him, making his pies. He has a little moment with Arya in which he's like shook that she's headed on down to kill Cersei. Like, oh, I thought you'd go to Winterfell. And she gets the news because she hadn't been alerted. She's been roaming around, Bravo. She's been roaming around killing folks. She didn't get the news that the Boltons had been taken down and Winterfell has been restored to the Stark Tower. And that makes her change her mind. So she decides to kind of choose family and home over her revenge on Cersei. Arya is headed back on north when she comes across another old friend. Arya was just here for the reunions this episode. She meets Nymeria. The first time we've seen this direwolf since season 1, like what, episode 3? 2?
Episode
3?
2, I think 2.
2.
That's crazy. I knew it was season 1.
Chased her away after, she protected Arya and bit Joffrey, and Cersei wanted her killed. But, Nymeria is humongous now. I guess being a free wolf, that's why I wanted to see a comparison, because I feel like she is bigger than Ghost, because she is huge. But she now commands a pack of regular wolves as they're on the move. And Arya's like, come with me, come on back. Like, I'm going back home, and I want you to come with me. But Nymeria ultimately is like, no, girl. I've got my own life over the past, 6 years. So I got my pack now, girl, and my pack is not you, the human pack. I got my own wolf pack, so I'm out of here. And Arya, that throwback line, I think it sometimes is done a little clumsily because I think a lot of people kind of interpret it as, oh, that wasn't Nymeria. When she says that's not you. So I think it's handled a little bit odd, but it's actually a throwback to Arya being called a lady and Ned being like, that's not you. So she's like, okay, coming with me and being like with me is not who you are anymore, Nymeria. I've just seen plenty of people be like, oh, that was it? Nymeria. Okay. So I think
it's just
another
another giant wolf that you recognize.
Yeah, another huge dire wolf, even though they've all but gone extinct. So, Tyler, how'd you feel with the quick moments we got with Arya?
Oh yeah, they were pretty cool. It was great to see, like you said, returns. We've seen Hot Pie kind of sporadically, I guess, as the seasons progress, and he just continues to just be making pies, which, I respect. He's chosen to stay out of the conflict. He's just in his little place making pies, and as people walk through, so I guess it's kept him safe this whole time, so he doesn't really have to worry about stuff. So great to see him back. I thought it was kind of fun getting that exchange, getting filled in on just, well, Arya's life has been kind of hectic since the last time they met, so it was kind of fun getting that update a little bit, while also pretty much he was there to let her know about Jon Snow being alive, and if you want to go chill out with him, which is kind of awkward because it's another one of those situations like with we've seen before in Game of Thrones where like their directions are always like one or two steps behind because Arya's going to go back as Jon's going to leave to go to Dragonstone. So it's like, they're just going to miss each other once again if she does get there. Yeah, I get why she would choose that over killing Cersei, although I think it would have been better served if she went and killed Cersei instead. But I guess you can't really have as much of a war if Arya just sneaks in and murders Cersei. So I don't know. The Nymeria moment was nice too. Just as like that was a moment. It wasn't a moment that I was expecting ever. Like, oh yeah, no, I just figured we'd never see the direwolf ever again. It's been 6+ seasons now. Yeah, that wolf got big. It was great to see them have, I guess, a little bit of closure, if you will. Would have been cool if maybe wishful thinking, fanficky probably, but it would have been cool if Arya had brought her back with her wolf pack, and we could have had them fighting in the war with everybody against the Night King.
We could have a little dragon and direwolf. Well, I don't know. That might not come out good. We saw how them dragons reacted to goats early on. You might see that direwolf and just think food. All right. Well, Pat, how'd you feel about Arya's little moment?
Well, I love seeing Hot Pie again. He was always one of my favorite comedic relief kind of characters. I loved the Harrenhal stuff with her, Gendry, and Hot Pie back in the day. So it was nice to see him again, and I'm glad he's living his best life. As far as Nymeria, I always really loved that scene because for me, and I think intentionally, the direwolves are kind of reflective of what's happening with their respective owners, and to have Nymeria kind of run off into the wild and go on who knows what kind of adventures, and Arya kind of ran off and she went on her whole spiel to finally see each other again. And they're both completely different people. It's like she wasn't just saying to Nymeria, "That's not you." She's like saying to herself, "That's not you anymore either. You're not the girl that wolf would recognize." And I think the fact Nymeria had a pact with her was a nice kind of like symbolic, like, oh, Arya's kind of going back to Winterfell, hopefully to reconnect with her own wolf pack of the Starks. And while it's sad that the CG budget was always jipping the direwolves, it was nice to have like a good moment with one of them that wasn't just like jumping across the screen to fight something. So.
Well, then finally, first of the plans is put into action, and we see the Greyjoy fleet on their way to Dorne, and a fun moment between the two established queer ladies of the show here. Elaria obviously was very open with Oberyn. Both of them just kind of grabbed whoever and pulled them into the bed in season 4. And then Yara, we all have seen as well. And so they start taking a little bit of a liking to each other. And just as things start to get fun, the party is interrupted as Euron and his fleet have come upon them in the ocean, in the sea, wherever on their way down. Euron comes screeching in on this damn like bridge that they put down onto the ship. And we see the battle ensue. We see the sand snakes come up. They try get a lick or two in on Euron, but it's not enough. And Euron kills both of those sand snakes with their own weaponry.
I'm pissed. I'm still pissed.
I'm so happy.
Yara and Theon are running around here, taking people down left and right. We finally get the showdown between Yara and Euron, and it's a pretty good little battle for a minute, but Euron does get the better of Yara and decides to get one little taunt in on Theon. Tries to goad him in to attacking, maybe take both of the siblings out at once. But Theon looks around, he sees people getting their tongues chopped out, getting their ears chopped off, sees torture happening, and he just like literally goes into PTSD flashbacks and turns back into Reek and jumps off the side of the ship. And Euron just laughs right in poor Yara's face as her brother jumps the ship. And he's got her, Tyene, and Elaria all hostage now. So we have 3 hostages. And a very ruined first step of the plan for Daenerys and Tyrion.
Just
So,
a little.
Tyler, how'd you feel about that last scene?
It was wild. What an entrance for Euron Greyjoy. Just pulling down that whatever you want to call that part and he just like smashed that guy to get on. And then he starts mowing down folks. I mean, that guy is unhinged. I mean, we've seen some pretty unhinged people in Game of Thrones, especially on the villain side, but Euron might be the most unhinged of the group after this little excursion. I kind of sort of have like a love-hate relationship with the Sand Snakes. I mean, I am biased because I love Jessica Henwick, but it did bum me out seeing Tyene be the one that survives, but also just the way that Jessica Henwick's character kind of went out. I was wondering, how's she going to use a whip in this like close quarters battle? Clearly didn't work out very well for her, or the other one died first. I feel bad because I don't remember their names, because I don't really remember Tyene much either. I just usually kind of lump them together as the Sand Snakes, and I just know Jessica Henwick. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it was kind of weird seeing Ilaria just not do anything down there, like just letting. All right, Tyene, you take on this entire army. I'll be sitting over here in this corner. I'll be cheering you on from this corner over here. Before that, though, it was kind of cool seeing her and Yara have this moment. I guess it didn't go anywhere, obviously, because it was immediately interrupted, and I felt kind of bad for poor Theon. Well, this entire thing, he was kind of just left there to watch them in this little moment, and then he goes and reverts back to Reek in a sense, and just jumps off the ship, and they just leave him in the ocean.
Poor Theon, she did that to him too the last time they came across like prostitutes. Yara was like having a good time, and she's like, all right, Theon, I don't know, go kill yourself if you want to be dour in the corner. Otherwise, we having fun.
Yeah, but it's crazy. I mean, that Euron guy, I mean, he's quite the guy. I guess that's his gift then. He's gonna come back with one sand snake, Ilaria, and Yara as the gifts, I guess. I mean, that's going to be especially good for Cersei because I mean, Ilaria and them did kind of conspire to murder Marcella for no reason. I have to wonder what Theon's going to do. They just leave him in the ocean,
float in the ocean.
Like, where's he gonna go? That's what I was thinking. Like, as his sister is being kidnapped and one of the sand snakes and Ilaria, and they just leave him there.
What do you feel about that final scene there, Pat?
Oh, I love that whole final ambush. As the Greyjoys are my family in the books, all right, it's completely different in some cases. There's a lot of omissions in the show, but to see finally after like 7 seasons pretty much of hearing about the Greyjoys are these fierce warriors at sea. Oh, you can't go too far from the sea, Theon, or else we'll lose. And to actually see how devastating they can be in a naval battle, like just how they just can go through and just completely destroy an enemy fleet if they have the numbers and if they have the ships. It's just always been a really cool thing to me to see how the Greyjoys can be when they're in their element and they're not like just sitting in a fort somewhere in the north, just slowly dying or slowly being ambushed. Yeah, I always loved that about it. And Euron in the show, despite being in some cases an extremely different character than he is in the books, I like the fact that he is kind of every bad thing we've ever heard about the Greyjoys that everyone has ever said. Like, oh, they're these terrible scumbags. Oh, they just like the pirate. Oh, you can't trust them. He's all those things wrapped up into one. And he's like everything that Theon in the early seasons aspired to be, kind of now reflected in his uncle. And you see how terrible he is. But for me, I like seeing that aspect of it because Euron, to me, is a dangerous enemy, and I like seeing him in this way in the show. When you see how ferocious of a warrior he is, they kind of combine some of his physical aesthetics with a Greyjoy Victorian that they cut out of the show, who wields an axe and stuff in the books. I'm a big fan of seeing him, especially in this episode. I thought he was scary. I thought it was fun to watch him just come down like John Cena with an entrance and just completely blow everyone away. Just cut through the Sand Snakes, who I never enjoyed. I love Jessica Henwick on Iron Fist, I never liked the Sand Snakes from that ridiculous introduction scene where she goes off on the whole spiel about when I was a girl, blah blah blah. No. Watching him wipe them out endeared me to the Euron a little bit. I'm like, thank you. You've done me a personal service. I will support you until the writing eventually lets you down. And I do think we kind of talked about at the very beginning, the Stormborn title is definitely mostly referring to Daenerys for obvious reasons. But I think it's worth the fact that they bookend the episode with two storms. You got the storm at Dragonstone with Daenerys talking about rallying her allies a bit, and then you have the storm at the end of the episode when Euron shows up, and Euron himself talked about in season 6 that he was uh, him and his brother talked about that at one point Euron lost his mind during a storm, and that his crew had the time to unmask, and then when he got untied, he cut out all their tongues. So he kind of became who he is now, apparently, during this storm. So he himself was born from a storm in a way. I don't know. I just, as a big Greyjoy fan, I love seeing them win for once, I guess, when it
I
comes
will
down
say
to.
the design of the silence is pretty awesome. Like his ship,
Very
his big
intimidating.
old silence is pretty
Yeah.
sick. But
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Euron.
What a character.
I know. This is Euron at his best, and I won't say if he gets too much worse, but I will say this is probably him at his best.
Right. Well, Tyler, this part's for you. Where we left off, part 1 of Tyrion's plan already foiled. Which we'll see what kind of domino effect is that going to have on the rest of the plan, because getting the Dornish back up there to King's Landing was a pretty big part of the plan. Also, the fleet was a pretty big part of all of the plan. So I guess moving forward to predictions, now that the first part of Tyrion's plan has been foiled, the predictions there. John heading down to Dragonstone, so we might get that reunion if all goes well. Arya heading to Winterfell. Dora being tortured by Sam. Torture healed.
Yeah.
Torture.
A little bit of both, yeah.
So what are your predictions after episode 2, Tyler?
Well, I hope for Jorah's sake, so we'll start with him. I hope for Jorah's sake he does get healed. It's either be painfully tortured and die, or be painfully tortured and live. So hopefully for his sake and his sanity, he can go be with Daenerys once again in the future. Because I know that's all that he really cares about in the long run. Is how can I get back to Daenerys? Is Khaleesi, because he's writing. I would love to know what that letter was that he wrote. I don't know if we'll ever see that. Maybe if he lives, it won't really matter. But
it's like it's sent to her and he lives and he's like, wait, don't read it, please.
Yeah. Can you imagine? It'll be interesting to see what transpires between Daenerys and Jon Snow, because I don't know how. I mean, that could go in 100 different directions, because they're both very, very different people to that one. I guess the end goal is pretty much the same, but both of them have very different ways of ruling. John's kind of going there for, he needs help to fight the Night King and the Walkers, and Daenerys wants to rule, but she also wants him to bend the knee. So I don't know where we're going to compromise there. I feel like with Tyrion's plan kind of failing right now, I guess it would make more sense for Daenerys to change her mind about his plan, maybe formulate a new plan. And I feel like Cersei's probably going to do some really messed up stuff to Ilaria and Tyene, and maybe not Yara as much, because he doesn't really have as much beef with Yara. That's more of like a Euron beef.
I think Euron kept Yara for himself.
But as far as Ilaria, I feel bad for Ilaria and Tyene right now. I think they're in danger if they're going to go back to see Cersei, because Cersei, those have to be towards the very top of the people that Cersei hates right now that are alive. Tyene. Well, I guess more so Ilaria, but just by proxy, Tyene. I guess it's because it's the daughter, kinda, sorta. So it's like it could be like
that's her true daughter. It's Tyene.
Well, then that's not a good sign, because Ilaria murdered her daughter, so it could be very much be like a daughter for daughter kind of thing.
All right. Well, we'll start with you on this one, Pat. Who are your favorite and least favorite characters in this episode?
I mean, I gotta say, Euron is my favorite. What can I say? I'm just,
we knew
I'm
that was
nothing
coming.
I'm just so great at picking characters. I mean, like I said, loved everything he did in that final scene. I thought he really stood out with very few lines, showing his capabilities as an antagonist. Least favorite, probably Alaria Sand. Never. I liked her when she was with Oberyn. Once she killed Marcella, I was kind of like over her. I was like, no, he wouldn't have approved. And the fact she's still kind of like, I don't know. I'm glad Tyrion called her out on that. I guess.
I was more iffy after she murdered the people in charge of Dorne.
Yes, yes, when she killed his brother, he wouldn't
like we
have
said,
approved
that brought
either.
up other questions Tyler had as well about what they just accepted him, I guess. In this coup in Dorne, they just accepted this, I guess. I don't know. Another
between
thing,
that and
same
then
thing with
Cersei.
Cersei. I guess I accept it because you can pretty much overthrow and usurp a throne. Because Cersei actually has no claim to that Iron Throne.
No.
She didn't even
zero.
really kill the king. Like she didn't actually kill the king. So the fact that they just accepted her as the queen and didn't try to like overthrow her or bring somebody else forward because she has no claim to that throne.
I feel like everyone in the show in Westeros is so much easier on these like power transitions. Like the fact that in the show Euron killed his brother and just blatantly admits it and to being a kinslayer, and all of the great like the Iron Islands are like, oh, that's fine, and I'm like, what? You should kill that man right now.
Excuse
I think I would hate to live in. I think at least if in the seasons, the timeline of the show, I think I would have hated to live in King's Landing.
Yeah, and Flea Bottom.
Or especially there.
Literally rivers of sewage coming through your street. Yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
But Tyler, who were your faves and least faves this episode?
Oh, faves. Well, John had some good moments. I always enjoy a good strangling of Littlefinger. Olenna, always great. No matter what she does, but I'll always love that woman the entire show. She's always great. There's not like a moment in the show where I've ever like disliked Olenna. I think because there's always like some moments where you're like questioning a character's motivations and stuff. I don't think I've ever done that with Olenna because Olenna's a good voice of reason for pretty much everything that's going on so far. Good for Missandei and Grey Worm. Happy for them. They had their moment to shine. Hopefully, it's not the last. I guess Grey Worm. Missandei's just chilling. So Grey. Hopefully, this isn't the last moment with Grey Worm. At least not in a battle sense. I'm trying to think of. I mean, it was cool seeing Arya get those moments and Hot Pie. I love me some Hot Pie. Mm-hmm. That might be the last time we see him. I don't know why they'd ever go back if they're in the middle of a war. No, I mean, usually I put Tyrion in the characters I like, but his plan kind of failed. So
yeah.
So I don't think I could put him in the good category.
I mean, he couldn't account for the other Greyjoy faction. Yes,
I wonder.
Maybe he should have.
The only thing I guess he's not. He's like political, but he's not necessarily war oriented. Yeah. I'm like, we really should have had a scout, which I guess maybe we should fall on Yara leading that. I don't know, because I'm like, that's a pretty big ass fleet that just. I mean, it was the nighttime, but they just rode right up on your asses, and nobody sounded an alarm.
There's no way they could build 1,000 ships that quick. They won't be after us for at least 5 years.
She just assumed that her uncle was still chilling on the island, I guess. She didn't imagine he was on the seas yet.
As far as least faves, I mean, I gotta put Cersei in there. Cersei's just rough right now, currently. Just in general. Ever since blowing up the Sept, it's definitely, at least for me, maybe not the people of King's Landing, but I've definitely looked at her in a different light.
But the one person in the crowd. No, screw her.
Yeah, the other. Speaking of Tarleys, I would put Samwell and Jorah in the category I liked. Okay. But the Maesters, wasn't a big fan of them. They're always very rude and condescending about doing anything that requires like effort, which kind of irritates me. But yeah, the other Tarleys, those are the other two I wasn't. Well, I guess it's not really as much Umbrella Academy guy's fault, but Samuel's father,
Randall,
and his betrayal, with Jaime convincing him. I guess I would throw Jaime in characters I wasn't a big fan of either. I'm surprised he's still going along with all of this. out of everything, out of all the characters in that area, I'm surprised Jamie has gone along with just serving Cersei as the queen while everyone hates her, and he's gonna have to go to war, and he has to like scheme and to get these people to side with her, and he's got like this whole weird thing with Euron Greyjoy on the side, where he's gonna like bring people and try and woo his sister, who he's also in love with. But I don't know. But also, Euron Greyjoy has to be my least favorite. That guy's
How
unhinged.
dare you?
He's fun to root against. He's not as bad as a character, I would say, at least currently. I mean, it could get worse. I still think Ramsay is worse, and I still think that Joffrey was worse, but he's definitely in the top 5 as far as like most devious characters so far. I can understand why they were talking about him going mad when they and all that stuff, because he was really into that mind torture, it seems, if you will, with Theon and making him just jump off the ship to his death almost.
And rather than killing Theon, he just enjoys like egging him on and making him act a fool more than actually killing Theon. Littlefinger and the least faves.
Yeah, I would throw him in there. Say I have to put him in there if I put Jon in there for strangling him partially. I worry for what's going to happen with Jon not around, and I guess maybe Arya will be on the way eventually, but Sansa's going to be around being a leader, and Littlefinger's just going to have access to her at all times, like putting thoughts in her head. As I mean, is there going to be anybody left by the time Jon gets back?
Sansa's not going to let Jon back through the door. They're going to keep him locked out. This is my kingdom now, Jon. You forfeited when you left, bro. It's over. Perfect. Well, that was our reaction and recap and discussion for season 7, episode 2. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos, including our final stretch of Game of Thrones reactions. Pat, thank you so much for coming on for this episode, giving us a quite rare pro Euron viewpoint. They're not all that frequent out here in the Game of Thrones fandom. But let people know where they can find you and your Euron and Aemond love.
Yeah, the Aemond part.
So much. Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun. Yeah, I can't wait to see the rest of your reactions, Tyler, especially to season 8.
Well,
it's a wild ride.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at this Pat guy. I like to argue with people about movies on there. And also my YouTube channel, Agamotto, which I started recently. I'm going to be releasing a video essay this week about trying to find some positives in Thor: The Dark World. So you can subscribe there, and you can listen to me try to find something that I like about that movie.
Is it a short video, Pat?
It's pretty short. Although I do spend some time on the stuff I hate, which there's a lot.
There you go. I'm excited.
And as always, Tyler, where can the folks find you?
Well, if not here, you can find me on my own channel. It's also named Tyler Calvert. It's very simple, just my name. For reviews, rankings, sometimes reactions to trailers, a bunch of other stuff in between. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. If Twitter's still around, it's Tyler Calvert. It's Tyler Calvert is the handle for both.
It'll be a continued thing if Twitter still exists.
If it's still there.
If it's still there by the time you see this, we're still having a good time over on the twits, okay? But
we'll touch and go.
Also, let us know what you thought. Are you with Pat? Did you live for Euron Greyjoy's attack this episode? Did you agree with Olenna in her advice to Daenerys this episode? Also, do you agree with Tyler? Are you kind of shook that there has not been a bigger fallout and repercussion to Cersei blowing up that set? Let us know all of your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit us all up over on that Twitter for now, or you can find us all over at the Cinemania World Podcast, whichever you'd like. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.